Welcome to Sasquatch, the show all about Bigfoot in the great state of Alaska. I'm your host, Beans Baxter. So lace up your boots, zip up your coat, and come with me on an adventure as we explore all things cryptid in the last frontier. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this, what I believe is the 6th episode of Sasquatch. I appreciate you listening in. A couple of house cleaning things to get out of the way first. I want to apologize, one, for the length of time that's gone by without an episode, and two, you may hear some background noise or some snoring, and I apologize for that, but there's not much I can do about it. That is my dog. He has decided he's going to sleep in the studio with me while I record, and I don't have the heart to kick him out. His little sister is sick, and she is at the vet right now, so he is decided to hang out with me, and I just don't have the heart to kick him out because his little sister's not here for him to snuggle with, and I actually had quite the day today. I had a couple of plans. I had some things I was going to do, and I didn't get around to them because his little sister got sick, and I had to end up taking her to the vet this afternoon. They decided to keep her overnight. I think she's okay. She just had a lot of diarrhea and some throwing up, and they're gonna give her some IV treatment and keep her overnight, and I think they're going to give her some anti-nausea medicine or something. So hopefully I'll get to go pick her up in the morning and she'll be fine. They're not really sure what caused it. They think maybe she might have eaten something that she wasn't supposed to, which that kind of perplexes me because she's pretty well. She's pretty well monitored. She doesn't, it's not like we let them outside and don't keep an eye on them. So I don't know what she could have got into that would upset her tummy like that. But anyway, seems like she's going to be okay. They're just going to give her some IVs and we'll check on her in the morning. So if you hear him snoring in the background, I apologize. But like I said, there's not much I can do about it. And he snores a lot. So again, I apologize, but I had to get down and into the studio and record this just so I could say that I had an episode in January, even though I'm getting it in at the last possible second. Had a lot of stuff going on. As you guys know, like right after the holidays, I went on vacation. Had a pretty good time. It wasn't perfect. We went with my wife and her two sisters. It was supposed to be kind of some time for them to get together and hang out, and it ended up all the girls got sick, and kind of put a damper on things. We still got to do some pretty cool stuff, see some pretty cool places, but everybody getting sick kind of put a kibosh on some things. Some of the girls didn't leave their rooms on the cruise ship for a few days. It was, it is what it is, they can't all be perfect, I guess, but to spend that much time planning something, we'd been planning that vacation for a year. We had literally, I think we bought the cruise tickets in January of 2019 for January 2020, and then we bought our plane tickets and stuff like that in February or Marchish or whenever they became available. So it was literally a year of planning in the works, and just to have something like that happen where everybody gets sick. So pretty frustrating. What else did we do? I went to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is awesome, although it was really crowded. We kind of miscalculated, and we got there while the kids were still off, I guess, for holiday break, and it was really crowded. And I recommend it, but I recommend you go when the kids are in school. like maybe the middle of October or something, or some other, February or something like that, when there probably won't be that many kids there. Don't go during summer break, spring break, or apparently the holiday break, because it was really crowded. But I got to do some really cool stuff, and I spent pretty much all day there. That was pretty much all I wanted to do in Disneyland or Disney World. So that's what I did. Let's see, what else did we do? We did some pretty cool stuff. Got on the cruise ship. Thankfully, we're not on the cruise ship that when it got. I don't even think I talked about this. So the cruise ship that we were on, a few weeks before we got on it, was involved in a collision somewhere. I can't remember what port it was in. But anyway, we were on the Carnival Legend. So if you just Google or go to YouTube and type in like Carnival Legend and accident or collision, you'll be able to see it, where another boat actually swung into the Carnival Legend, and the Carnival Legend wasn't damaged, but the other boat was. It caused quite a bit of damage to it. So lucky we weren't there when that happened, but we come on the boat later after that. So we got back from our vacation, and then we had some stuff to do around the house. We were working on our basement. We did some work down there. We did some painting, some furniture got moved around. We're in the process of trying to figure out what we're going to do with our house now that we're empty nesters. So, life gets in the way. Hopefully I'll have some cool stuff to talk about, some cool stuff in the field to talk about here pretty soon. In fact, I was planning on going out to the refuge and going snowshoeing tomorrow, but with the little girl dog in the vet, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to go pick her up in the morning, so I had to kind of put the kibosh on those plans. So probably not gonna get out in the field anytime soon. I don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to get back out and actually do something. It's kind of frustrating, but that's just what it is. I was hoping when I recorded this episode, which I probably would have recorded it tomorrow night, I would have had some stuff to talk about from the field, maybe even recorded a little bit out there while I was snowshoeing. But with things happening the way they are, then it just didn't work out that way. So I was disappointed, because this episode's pretty much just gonna sound like me promoting a bunch of stuff, which it is. But I was hoping to mix in some field stuff in there, and it's just not gonna happen. So I think last episode I talked about the Expedition Bigfoot television show. I think I talked about I can't remember if it was the first episode or the first couple episodes that I had watched, and gave a little review on it. Well, as of this recording, they have aired the final episode of season 1. I believe I saw all the episodes. I even watched the episode on the cruise ship. So, if that's not dedication, then I don't know what is. So now that the show's over, I can kind of give a final overview of it. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. I really, really enjoyed seeing some of the stuff that they did, some of the ways they employed some technology that I wouldn't have thought to employ. The drones in the cave was pretty cool, although I was pretty sure they weren't going to find any Bigfoot in the cave. The underwater drone, I guess is what it was. They did some really cool stuff. The sound locations, the equipment that located the sounds off in the distance, that was really cool. They did some really cool stuff, and they used some really cool equipment. But there was some stuff that they did that I felt was pretty much just for the camera. And, you can't, if you just filmed straight up Bigfooting, it would be boring and nobody would want to watch it. So I know why they did what they did. The emotions and the, creepiness and stuff like that they factored in, I know why they did it. It's still a little frustrating, because I know, having been involved in some of those shows, that it's, A lot of it's just for the show. Like when Russ rappelled down the cliff to get the hair samples to be analyzed. There was no exigency for that. There was no need for that. That was just done for the show, to create drama for the show. Those hairs were setting out in the open for who knows how long before he found them. So there was no exigency to get them into the lab. But it is what it is. And, anytime that TV is involved, then that's, you're going to get that kind of stuff. You're going to get some manufactured drama. I do hope they get a season 2. I would just, I'd like to see them for the sheer fact, just seeing what kind of new technologies they can innovatively employ. And that's pretty much why I'd like to see a season 2, is basically to give me ideas for equipment that maybe I can try and implement in my own research. So that's kind of my thoughts on Expedition Bigfoot. It's a TV show, but there might be some good practical ideas that come out of it. But enough about that. Let's head over to the Sasquatch news desk and talk about something that's been going on for a while now. For the last few days here, it's finally starting to die down, but I'm still seeing it every now and then. It's popping up. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, because if you don't, you're living under a rock, or you somehow got this podcast by osmosis and don't have the internet, because I'm talking about the Washington DOT footage or picture of a Bigfoot. Holy cow, did that take off like a freaking wildfire. That thing went around faster than those fires in Australia. Man, what a waste of everybody's time. I was fairly certain when they showed the picture that it was a cardboard cutout or something. And Will Ulmer of Bigfoot of Stevens County posted that he was aware of it, that it had been there for some time, that it was a cutout. And I think he even posted that earlier in the year it had been holding like a case of beer or something, and which I think is hilarious. And people were arguing with him. The guy knows it's a cutout. He's telling people it's a cutout, and people are, no, I'm pretty sure that's real. And it just goes to show you how bad people want to believe that, even, when given evidence to the contrary, they'll still just cling on to it. Finally, somebody got a hold of a letter from Washington DOT that says it's a cutout, and I think they even admit to putting the cutout up. That's been making the rounds. Hold on, I have the letter here somewhere. This is apparently a researcher named Joe Beelert, who I am ashamed to say I don't know. It's possible I may have even met him, and it just slipped my mind. But he published or posted the letter after he got it, and it's starting to make the rounds. I was a little ashamed that I didn't know who this guy was. I looked him up on Facebook. We have like 30-some mutual friends. Obviously, he is pretty active in the Bigfoot community. But he wrote a letter basically asking DOT, what's up with this thing. And the answer he received is, in brief, the Sherman Pass figure is a cutout made of 3/4-inch wood nailed into a tree by someone. Let's see. The responder said that over the last 15 years, so it's been there for 15 years, has been placing different items in front of the camera. The cutout has been there for at least the last year, but due to lighting, shadow. Oh, okay. So I guess other things have been put in front of the camera, but this year it was the Bigfoot cutout. Due to lighting and shadow and other weather elements, I've never been able to get a good picture of it. My reason for posting a photo. Okay, so this isn't the guy that put the cutout there. This is the guy that posted the photo. Was to have a little fun with it, but I think I didn't think people would take it so seriously as they did, or receive this much attention. And then there was, right shortly after that video or picture of the cutout, then there was a video released by DOT. I'm going to butcher the name of this place. Snoqualmie Pass video is believed to be most likely a construction worker. So that's a video of a figure that was walking across, I believe it's like a wildlife overpass or something. And, I could see why somebody would think it was squatchy, but just, from looking at the way it moved, it sure looked like a man to me. So anyway, that's the response. So mystery is essentially solved for sure on the Sherman Pass photo, and mostly, if not entirely, on the Snoqualmie Pass video. I know I'm probably butchering that name, and I apologize, but so there you have it. And I know, there's two types of people out there. There's going to be the people that just say, "Oh, yep, that's it." That's that. And then there's going to be the other kind that go, "This is a government cover-up." Those were Bigfoots. Both of them were Bigfoots, and this is how the government covers it up. So, what can you do but shrug your shoulders and get on with your life? So I am convinced that neither of those are legit Bigfeets. And I'm shocked and dismayed how they made it, especially the cutout, made it into the mainstream media. And that's when you can tell when a Bigfoot story has really taken off, is when your non-Bigfoot friends start sending it to you. I think I had about 4 or 5 people who have nothing to do with Bigfoot, don't give a shit about Bigfoot, send me that video. And that's when I kind of knew, oh man. And I think when one of them sent it to me, I saw it was like linked to like Fox News or something, and I just kind of face palmed, and not because he sent it to me, just because it made Fox News, and it was not mainstream newsworthy, and that's the kind of stuff that just really it kind of gives the scene a black eye, because there's people that, like I said, are arguing that it's real, and people see that in the mainstream media, and they're just like, man, people think this is real. That's BS, and they're crazy, and that's why nobody takes it seriously. And one of my favorite quotes is from Art Bell, and it's have an open mind, but not so much that your brain falls out. And I kind of wish more people would adhere to that. In fact, I believe Will Ulmer from Bigfoot of Stevens County is probably going to address this kind of stuff. He posted something that on his Facebook the other day, that he was going to post some videos, and he didn't want to offend anybody, but he was going to address some things like this. So I'm looking forward to those. Hopefully, I can get a good chuckle out of it. It always baffles me when things that are pretty obviously fakes or hoaxes makes it into the mainstream news, and then other more credible evidence just gets ignored. If there is a government cover up, that's where it is. It's where the more plausible stuff never makes it into the mainstream news. Why is that? I think if there is a cover up, which I don't believe there is, if there was one, I think that's where it would be. It wouldn't be the absence of information. It would be the control of information. Just, we're not going to do a story on that. But, hey, this kid put on a bear suit and run in front of a cop car. Let's do a story about that or something. That's the kind of stuff that makes me wonder. And anyway, I don't really want to talk about it anymore, because it's kind of ridiculous. You just get these flash in the pan stories, and they take off, and even before social media, I remember when the people saw the leprechaun in the tree or whatever down in, was that Alabama or Atlanta or something? It just takes off. The novelty of it just takes off, and there's oh man, people just go crazy over that kind of stuff. But anyway, like I said, I don't have a lot to talk about as far as field work or anything like that. I do have some stuff that I want to talk about to promote. So the rest of the podcast is going to probably be like a 30-minute commercial. So I apologize. Coming up later in the month of February, and I'm not sure exactly when. I think we're shooting for February 15th, but it may be a little bit later than that. I don't know how the editing is going on it. As soon as I got back from vacation, I had to sit down and do some voiceover work for it. But I'm talking about Bigfoot encounters in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be another documentary, kind of like our In Search of the Port Chatham Hairy Man. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit better than In Search of the Port Chatham Hairy Man, because, it's going to be our sophomore effort. Hopefully we learned some things from our first film, and this one's going to, adapt and improve on some of the lessons we learned from Port Chatham. I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting. It certainly seems like we had a little bit more activity where we were at than we did on Port Chatham. Not that we didn't have activity on Port Chatham, but I think that it's going to be kind of a different animal. It's going to be a different movie, different documentary, and I can't wait to see the first cut of it. And that's going to be, I believe, on Amazon and Vimeo, just like In Search of the Port Chatham Hairy Man. And also, speaking of In Search of the Port Chatham Hairy Man, it is now on Amazon Prime. So if you have Prime, you can watch it for free. So check it out. Even if you don't particularly care for it, just turn it on, and, let it play while you go to sleep. Because I don't think we get that. Steven doesn't get paid for it unless you watch it all the way through, or you have to at least watch an hour of it or something. I'm not quite sure how it works. Also, coming up this month, tentatively, again, I'm not sure the exact date. As of right now, the Alaska Triangle is slated to premiere on February 9th, I believe at 10 p.m., probably depending on what time zone you're in, on the Travel Channel. I believe the first episode is called The Secrets of Mount Hayes. It's going to be, I believe it's a 10-part series, maybe an 8-part series, all about Alaska mysteries. There's going to be some UFO stuff. There's going to be some Bigfoot stuff. There's going to be all kinds of stuff in there. So check it out. There's an episode on there where Steven, Adam Davies, and I take a film crew to Port Chatham and show them around a little bit. And hopefully it turned out all right. I haven't seen it. I don't know how it's going to look. Remember what I was saying about TV and Bigfoot shows earlier. So just, keep an open mind when you watch it. Enjoy the scenery, and don't take it too seriously, all right? It's on TV. And we just don't have a lot of control over the way they edit things and put them together. That's why I enjoy doing these little documentaries, because we have at least a little bit more control over how those things go together. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining show. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and maybe you might have caught like a little sneak preview of it. I think they showed it. It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, called Yuletide Yeti. I actually recorded it by accident. I didn't know it was going to be like a special episode of Alaska Triangle. And I just kind of sat down and turned it on one day to see what it was. And lo and behold, it's the Alaska Triangle show. It's just like a special episode of it. And they actually showed some footage from Port Chatham, and they showed Adam and Steven and I walking on the dock toward our boat here in Homer in the opening title sequence. So that was pretty cool. I was really shocked to see that, and it was kind of fun to see myself on TV, actually in like the opening credits of the show. So that's pretty cool. What else is going on? Oh, November 7th. So you guys have got plenty of time to clear your calendar and make arrangements. November 7th is going to be the 3rd annual Sasquatch Roundup in Spokane Valley. I am really excited about this one. I'm going to be there. Amy's going to be there again, Amy Boo. And I'm really excited about this. Dr. Robert Alley is going to be there, of Raincoast Sasquatch fame. And I cannot wait. I am so excited. I'm going to scream like a schoolgirl probably when I meet him. I am over the moon to meet Mr. Alley and get to sit down and hopefully pick his brain. Hopefully we can maybe get him to talk to me a little bit on the recorder, and we can get him on the show here. I can't wait. And apparently he has a new book out, a second book about Sasquatch in Alaska, and I can't wait to get a hold of it. From what I understand, it's done, it's written, and he even has some copies, and he's going to be selling them at the Sasquatch Roundup, I hope. And I cannot wait to get my hands on that. I am so excited about that. I love Renko Sasquatch. It's probably my favorite Bigfoot book. I've read it a couple of different times. I don't think I've really talked about it much on here. I think, we're going to have to just do a whole episode on it. And I'll have to pick out some of my favorite encounters from the book, and we'll just have to go over them. The only thing about it is it just kind of concentrates on Southeast Alaska, and it just makes you wonder, are they concentrated more in that area of the state, or is it just because, there's more people there? I don't know. It makes me wonder, because you don't hear that much in this part of the state about them, but they seem to be a little bit more, they seem to be thicker over there in Southeast Alaska. So I can't wait to meet Dr. Alley. I can't wait to read his new book. I can see myself probably, I don't know how thick the book is or how much there's in it, but I can see myself sitting down and probably reading that one in 1 or 2 sittings. In fact, as I sit here talking about it, I'm looking over at the bookshelf and I can see my copy of Renko Sasquatch from here. And I just think to myself, like, maybe I should buy another copy, because that's what the kind of book that, something about my favorite books. I always want to have 2. I always want to have an extra copy just in case. I don't know why. I guess because that old military saying 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I feel like if something happened to it, I should have a reserve. And speaking of my favorite Bigfoot media stuff, I have a copy of the restored, remastered Blu-ray of The Legend of Boggy Creek on the way. It's in the mail. They sent it media mail, which made me a little disappointed. I was hoping that it would get here before the end of my weekend, and that's not going to happen. But they just mailed them out just the other day, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I've seen The Legend of Boggy Creek probably a dozen times or more, but I've never seen it on Blu-ray, and I've never seen it, or basically I've never seen like a master copy of it. I've always seen what are they? They're like the bootleg versions, and the versions that they sold on like Amazon, and they were always like a copy of a copy, and they were always dark and grainy. And supposedly this version of the film is supposed to be much clearer and beautiful. And I've some people have already gotten their copies, people that don't live in Alaska and don't have to wait forever for shipping, and they're saying it looks great. So I can't wait to get it. It's put together by, is it Charles Pierce? Is that the director? It's put together by his daughter. I guess she finally either got the rights to it or found the original. I'm not quite sure the story behind it. All I know is that they're putting it out on Blu-ray, and I'm getting a copy, and I can't wait. So hopefully here pretty soon, I'm going to get to sit down with Robert Alley's new book and the Blu-ray of Beast of Boggy Creek, The Legend of Boggy Creek, and just have a little Sasquatch media party. And that's one of the funny things about Beast of Boggy Creek. So Arkansas is abbreviated AR, and Alaska is abbreviated AK. And before I got sent to Alaska, I didn't know or care about that. And I was sitting in a briefing in the Army, and they were giving everybody their orders, telling them where they're going to go. And I got my orders, and it said I was going to Fort Richardson, AK. And I asked a question of the person giving the briefing, and she said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Fort Richardson, Arkansas." And everybody in the room kind of snickered. And she said, "No, sweetie, that's Alaska." And I was like, what the hell? I had no idea what was going on. I used to say, I don't care where the Army sends me as long as it's nowhere cold. And I thought I was going to Arkansas, and I was like, well, that's not too bad. That's not too far from home. And I went to Alaska. But I liked it so much I stayed. I'm still here. So anyway, back to Alaska stuff. One more announcement pertaining to Alaska here. This one actually does pertain to Alaska and to field work. So, hey, we're getting closer to having some field stuff on the show, huh? Sometime in July, myself and Stephen Major with Extreme Expedition Northwest, and a couple of other people. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to say anything if nobody's officially confirmed. I know, well, I'm not officially confirmed, I guess, because I don't have my freaking tickets yet, but I've got my time off. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going. We are going to be going on an expedition in Southeast Alaska to Prince of Wales Island. And I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a little different, Much like when we were in Washington, I'm gonna be out of my comfort zone because we're not gonna be here in South Central Alaska. We're gonna be in Southeast. It's gonna be raining, I'm sure. It's gonna be probably a torrential downpour the entire time we're there. If my limited experiences with Southeast Alaska are any indicators. Because it rains a lot in Southeast Alaska. I mean, that's why they call it the rain coast, right? So we'll see. Like I said, Stephen Major, myself, and a couple other researchers are going to be heading in there. We're going to be checking out the local Bigfoot population. And we're also going to be looking for the Kushtaka, which, if you're not familiar, I'm sorry, my dog just woke up and now he's like scratching in his bed. The Kushtaka is the land otter man, which is a native legend in that park. I think the Tlinkits are the ones that believe in the Kushtaka. Maybe some of the other ones down there too. Maybe the Haidas. And he's supposed to be kind of like a Bigfoot-like figure, I guess, but he can swim, and he's a shape changer, and he's supposed to kidnap people. And we're going to get into that and see, hopefully get some Bigfoot and some Kushtaka tales. I actually have a book on the Kushtaka here somewhere. I don't know. I'm sure it's over there on my bookshelf somewhere. But before we head down there to Prince of Wales, we'll do an episode about it. We'll talk about the Kushtaka. I'll bust out the book. I'll pull out some encounters. Maybe we'll get Steven on the show to talk about the expedition. And once we firm some things up, we'll talk about who's going to be there, who's going to be coming with us. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be spending a few days there. It's going to be nice getting out and seeing some different parts of Alaska. I've been to Hoona and Sitka, I think, and it rained a lot. So they were very pretty. But it rained pretty much the entire time I was there at both places. So anyway, that is about all I have for this episode. I will be back here in a couple of weeks, and I think we'll do Rain Coast Sasquatch. I think I'll bust that out. Just talking about it again has gotten me wanting to crack it open and take a look at it. So I think I will do that. I will take it upstairs with me when I get ready to go to bed, and I'll thumb through it and find some of my favorite encounters and information in it. And when I sit down to record next, we'll talk about that book, because it's one of my favorite books. It's great. If you get a chance, I think it's on Amazon. You can pick it up. You can pick it up digitally. I think you can pick it up a paper copy, which I prefer the paper copies. Anyway, this has been Alasquatch. You can shoot us an email at alasquatch@gmail.com. You can find us on the Facebook at the Alasquatch Facebook page. And you can find me on Instagram at Kenai Bigfoot on Instagram. I've got some pretty cool pictures on there from some of our past expeditions. You can see some pictures of Port Chatham. You can see some tracks that I've found. You can get some cool thermal images. And I've also got a lot of trail camera footage up there of moose and bears and just general wildlife. I got some coyotes running around up here in my yard. So if you want, you can swing by and find me on Instagram at Kenai Bigfoot and follow me there, and you can see pictures of some of my adventures there. I'm also on YouTube. I have a Kenai Bigfoot YouTube channel, and sometimes the podcast gets posted there. I haven't figured out. I think something changed and it's not going there anymore, so I got to figure that out. But I've got a couple of other videos there, and I try and take some video when I get out in the field. So I appreciate you guys listening, and I will see you here in a couple of weeks with some tales from the Raincoast Sasquatch.